Brandon Hawks. I'm from Sparta, or a bit outside town limits, so I guess Alleghany. This past Tuesday, there was a planning meeting. I was here for half of it, maybe a third of it. And for the time I did stay in this chamber, I am a little disappointed, or a lot disappointed. The policy discussion was weak, very weak. Discussing things like bike trails or dreams are nice and fancy, but I don't think anyone here has ever asked themselves the question of what is the role of government and what it should be. First-year political science majors are tasked with that job. They're asked a simple question: what is government's role? Now, there's a lot of opinions and things of that nature, but we all agree on certain basic aspects. Government has a budget, it taxes, things of that nature. It protects private property rights, not just land, but individual liberties. It protects their speech, their religion, the right to carry arms, so forth and so on. Things promised to us and guaranteed to us by natural rights by God and the Constitution and the state constitution. Third thing is the court system, civil and criminal. Fourth thing is, of course, defense, military, police force, firefighters, things we don't expect the market to handle. Now, we have an economic developer in the county, and he was not included in the discussion, which I think was wrong. I think there needed to be some sense with him. If we do appoint an economic developer, he needs to be involved in the plans of anything that deals with economics. That just makes sense. And this is tough for a lot of people to digest who don't, sympathize with my political views or other people's political views, but don't get into economic affairs. You're not entrepreneurs. No offense. You're just not. That's not a slander, that's a fact. You deal with things that pertain to the budget, the debt, and the spending, and that's in taxes, and that's it. Those are the things that control economic growth. The higher the tax rates are, the poorer the people are. So forth and so on. There's no discussion about that, no discussion about the debt, no discussion about the taxes, no discussion about our problems. Our budget is clearly bloated. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to do any real risk assessments. There's no real cuts, and taxes either continue to go up every year or stay stagnant. They never go down. It seems everybody's afraid to make a move. Everybody's terrified to be criticized or take a risk. This is politics. Get over it. It's going to be cruel. People will talk. You'll be offended, and you will offend people. It's not nice, but that's how it works. Ultimately, I feel like you don't want to take any risk, and that saddens me. Even if you go against my limited ideology, take a risk. If you can't do that, step down. Accuse yourself from your position and get your party to one another person. And this nonsense about tourism, too, I get it's an important fact in some senses, but we seem to always be depending on some other people to come here to spend money to make us better. No. That gains some sort of sense of employment, but it doesn't produce any production. It doesn't make us better off. It's the same thing about going to Raleigh. If we go to Raleigh and beg these politicians and bureaucrats, please give us jobs, they don't care. They don't care about us. White County doesn't care about us. White don't care about us. We have to care about ourselves. We stand tall by standing on our own 2 feet. We don't stand tall by standing on somebody else. That's how I was raised. For some of the time I was here for that meeting, there's plenty of mention of the public workforce. We praise our public employees and such, and I'm not demonizing them. There's never any real talk about the private people here, people who work in the private sector. What about them? People at the Pines or Farmers Hardware or Food Line or Lowe's Food or Radio Shack. These entrepreneurs that produce jobs. These people that go out there and talk to them. Don't talk to just government people. Get out of the bubble, out of the echo chamber. These people and merchants in downtown and places, they're becoming extinct. They would like some input, or they would like a voice to talk to. And I've said it again, I said 1,000 times, if you're serious about economic growth, you will lower the property taxes, you will shrink the budget, you will control spending, and you will manage the debt. I'm not saying we'll have a utopia the next day that happens. Economics don't work that fast. But it's a step in the right direction. Nobody is born able to walk and run. You crawl, and then you eventually walk, and then you eventually run. you don't do that, things will continue to get worse. Think of it. Year after year, we've increased taxes, and we've kept up the spending level, as though there's no real risk to it. The economy has gotten worse. It hasn't gotten better. You know, I may have said this before in the past, but you know, Patrick Henry said something very affluent and something that sticks out today. He said that it is natural for man to indulge himself in illusions of hope. We are apt to shut our eyes against painful truths. We listen to the song of the siren instead. And for my part, whatever anguish of spirit it may take, or it might cost, I am willing to know the whole truth, to know the worst of it, and to provide for it. We don't need hope, dreams, change, rainbows, unicorns. We need to go back to the basics. What is the role of government? Limited, personal responsibility, fiscal restraint. These things require political will, and for a lot of people it takes a lot of courage. We have to take risk, and that is the part of everything we do in life. To the person you love, to the person, even get on your knees and praying to God, it takes risk. That's what we have to do. Thank you.